Hello, Surbhi. How are you?
Good evening, sir. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. So, very good name. The first question, maybe from your name too, that what is the meaning of your name?
Yes, sir. Sir, there are two meanings to my name. One is in ancient Hindu mythological cow was named Surbhi, and the second meaning is fragrance, the pleasant smell.
Okay. So, which meaning you find in your name, or not in your name, in your personality?
So the second one.
Fragrance.
Yes, sir.
Uh, okay. So, how does it work, the fragrance from your personality?
Sir, I believe in the meaning of this name. So I believe that wherever we go, we should leave a positive impact behind, just like fragrance does to us.
Okay. Since you are from chemical engineering, and all of a sudden, there, there's a question in my mind. Fragrance and chemicals. So what are those chemicals which are really good and one can use as the fragrance? If you can suggest us so that we can purchase next time.
Sir, esters are chemical compounds which are known to have good fragrance and are used in many perfumes as well.
Okay. So which brand is using very good chemicals which are skin friendly, olfactories are also good that we can go for?
So I may suggest, if I may, organic. There are certain brands which claim to be organic and Ayurvedic in nature. For example, we have Biotique.
Okay.
Yes.
So there is something called as Itra also, and there is something called as perfume. What is the difference between these two?
Sir, in my view, if I can take a guess, Itra is an Ayurvedic formulation. It is more natural in its composition.
Okay. Connecting this knowledge of chemical engineering and about chemistry in general, what are the things that you find in this democratic system sometimes not good health wise, and there are restrictions out of Article 19(1), the freedoms rights are given. Where do you find the use of chemistry if you become a bureaucrat and you can really do good, so that reasonable restriction, even if these are there, are not put for the public celebration or like that?
So the use of chemistry for freedom of speech and expression specifically.
No, I talked about only Article 19(1), not Article 19(1)(a).
Okay.
So if I can drop you a hint, that expression is holy celebration, right? Diwali celebration too. So now you can tell the answer.
Yes, sir. So, for instance, we burn crackers during Diwali. Last year there were some environment friendly crackers uh, that were launched by the government of India into the market. They were by the name of Star, Safal. So this is one application of chemical engineering or chemistry in in allowing people to express themselves more freely and in an environment friendly manner.
So instead, which alternative you would like to suggest, that people are exploding the crackers, yet not harming the environment and not harming themselves?
Yes, sir. So first is environment friendly crackers which do not produce harmful chemicals when burnt. Secondly, sir, clothing, we can devise technical textiles in a manner that they do not catch fire or are not prone to the risk of fire when burnt. Yes, sir.
Okay, I can get the things. Now about Holi, what are the colors which are skin friendly, water friendly too, when we are washing them off after celebrating Holi? The chemical composition of it, if you may tell. to us?
Sir, colors which are derived from natural substances can be used during Holi. For example, nowadays people are using the petals of flowers to make organic colors during Holi. Similarly, haldi can be used to produce a yellow color.
So
Yes.
otherwise, the chemical colors which are used, what are those chemicals? The formulas of those chemicals?
Sir, they are, I'm not aware of the exact formula. They are in a solvent of an organic compound. It could be benzene or ethyl alcohol. And the color, sir, I'm not aware of the colors, the composition of colors used in holy chemicals.
Okay, from your chemistry knowledge, what is that formula of sindoor that Indian woman, married woman put?
Sir, I'm not aware. Sorry, sir.
Okay, in water, when we go to the rural areas, in the water tank in the school and all, we are mixing some red color chemical so that it is a kind of disinfectant, in situ disinfectant apart from the chlorine and all. What is the formula of that red color chemical?
Sir, I haven't heard of this chemical formula before.
Potassium permanganate, I think so.
Okay,
If you
thank
can.
you.
Yes. And you had math optional.
Yes, sir.
This chemistry was not there in your optional list.
No, sir. Sir, my subject is chemical engineering. So chemical engineering is not an optional in the list of.
But chemistry is there.
Yes, sir. But sir, chemical engineering is very different from chemistry as a subject per se.
Okay. So in the at the main level, there is word limit in the optional, paper 1 and paper 2. In math also there is word limit.
No, sir. In maths, there are no word limits. We just have to solve and arrive at the solution in the limited space that is provided in the paper.
Okay, so in GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4 in total, how many words there is a word limit one has to write?
Yes, sir. So it is 150 for the first 10 questions. So 1500 plus 2500, 4000 words.
Okay, and in ethics paper?
In ethics paper, so the first 7 questions have 3 subparts, each 150. Sir, about 5700, I believe.
3440 around approx. You just
Okay.
may calculate after the mock interview is over.
Okay.
Anyway,
Thank you.
how many words you can write in a minute while writing the answers in, like if you need to complete entire paper, every question, how many words one is expected to write minimum?
So for a 10 marker, the ideal time is 7 minutes. And
So if
we
you
run
are able to arrive at the exact
20,
words that you have to write divided by the 180
20
minutes,
words. Yes, sir.
180 minutes.
Yes, sir.
So how
20
much?
words approximately.
22. Okay, anyway.
Okay.
See, in mathematics, there are many subjective domain also that one has to deal with. What are those subjective domains that you identify in your optional?
Sir, modern algebra, real analysis, other than this, calculus.
Okay. So in calculus, there is something called as integration and differentiation.
Yes, sir.
What is the actual use of it in the day-to-day life of integration and differentiation?
So differentiation, if we need to calculate the speed of any moving object, speed uh, is basically the differentiation of the distance that it has covered with so instantaneous speed at any point of time will be the differentiation of the distance it has covered with respect to time. Similarly, sir, integration, if we need to calculate the area of any irregular object that we see around us, integration finds its practical application there.
So you mean to say that differentiation will not be used in town planning, but integration will be used in town planning?
No, sir, both differentiation and integration can be used in town planning. For example, if we need to calculate the slope of any object in town planning, differentiation can be used there.
So if, say, for example, an area which is not, planned area like Chandigarh or Gandhinagar in Gujarat, the area has evolved over a period of time, is unorganized, not planned, and we need to have government project. So differentiation will be more used or integration?
So in my view, both of these will find their applications. It will depend on the object of planning at hand. For example, sir, if we need to, let's say, make sure that we are allocating equal amounts of area to every region, and these areas are irregularly shaped, we may use integration there. Whereas, let's say if we are planning on building a multimodal transportation project within this town, differentiation will be more used to calculate the specific slopes at each point.
Okay, but I will say, to put it very simple, that small, when the distance and the length are quite irregular, so we can break those length and breadth into the small pieces and then clubbing them together to reach a final point. So this is the
Okay.
combined application of differentiation and integration. So maybe differentiation is in general coming first, then after that integration. In general, not it's a absolute sequence of both of them. But in the hilly area, when you need to make a dam or you need to just play with the kind of course of a river, uh, apart from differentiation and integration, do mathematicians or the planners have other concept to apply?
So we can also apply numerical methods whenever we are trying to build a dam. This can be used to approximate, to arrive at approximations for example, when integration is not directly possible, we need to approximate it using numerical methods. So
If conical dam is to be shaped and surface area is to be calculated, which formula will be applied?
sir, which formula within integration you're asking?
Not integration, in general, 10th class based formula, maybe.
Okay, the area of a conical
Not
dam.
area, the surface area.
Okay. So 1/3 pi r square h. No, sir, I'm sorry, that is the volume, sir.
IRL.
Yes, sir, pi r l.
Okay, Surbhi.
Thank,
Over to you, Amol. Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you, sir, and welcome, Surbhi. Good to see you here.
Thank you.
Okay, so I see that you are interested in learning about developmental economics.
Yes,
so
sir.
could you please tell me what is the meaning of development?
Sir, development is a rise in the standards and capabilities of people which constitute an entity. For example, rise in health indicators, education indicators, ease of living, sanitation, etc.
All right, and I see that you have done your academic and your background is really strong. So, just for my knowledge, could you please tell me the difference between co-curricular activities and extracurricular activities?
So co-curricular activities are activities that are related to the curriculum, whereas extracurricular activities are activities outside the curriculum. For example, so dance is an extracurricular activity. Robotics, which takes applications from engineering itself, is a co-curricular activity.
All right. And when I see your DAF, I see your photograph to be a bit different than the other candidates which we go through. So, yes. Any particular reason for that? What was going in your mind when you uploaded that photo?
So there is no particular reason. I was just in a hurry to fill and submit the form, and this was the best photo I could come across.
All right. Anyhow, and I see that a lot of things in your DAF are mentioned about entrepreneurship and actors, and you are the founding member. So, what do you understand by entrepreneurship?
So entrepreneurship is basically a risk-taking ability which is utilized to add tangible value to the society in the form of innovative steps to achieve larger goals.
All right, and you are interested in agri-tech development in that agri-tech also. So could you please name 2-3 startups in the field of agri-tech?
Yes, sir. The one is Dharaksha Eco Solutions. They are working in the domain of stubble burning in Punjab and NCR region. They convert stubble to more useful products like cardboards and packaging material. Another is Kheti. They are working in the South Indian region. They provide modular and mobile greenhouse setups to farmers to enhance the efficiency of their product and increase input efficiency.
All right, I got my answer. Then you were part of some Nss activities also. Could you please tell me any interesting activity you did?
So under Nss, I was involved with a number of activities from visiting old age homes to
just one interesting which you feel is the most interesting one.
So the most interesting one was Enactus under Nss. So Enactus is a global organization by the name of Entrepreneurial Action Us. Under this, we visited remote areas within NCR and around NCR, identified problems that these people faced. We devised solutions to cater to these problems, and then we trained these people to become entrepreneurs themselves and solve their problems sustainably.
All right. So, and you have been a part of Model United Nations also. So, just idea about United Nations, considering the present crisis that is going on. Do you think that United Nations is defunct right now, and what is its status according to you?
Sir, the United Nations definitely needs some reforms because it has not been able to prevent a lot of crises in the past, including the present Russia-Ukraine crisis. So, so number one is that we do need reforms in the United Nations to for it to continue to hold importance. For example, greater say to the developing nations like India, Brazil within the UN and the UN Security Council in particular, greater power of sanctions to the United Nations so that collective decisions can be taken by members as a whole. And sir, the veto power of UNSC also needs to be reformed so that any one country cannot or is not able to stop actions from being taken place.
All right. So my last question to you, suppose you are one of the secretaries working in the Ministry of External Affairs, and you have been asked by your Honorable Ambassador to go and defend India's stand on the Ukraine crisis. So you have 1 minute with you, please. Go ahead.
In my view, India has taken a very pragmatic stand on the Russia-Ukraine crisis. India has nowhere defended Russia on the hostilities committed or the violence committed on its part. India has always advocated peace and stability in the region. At the same time, India has defended its economic interests and its strategic ties with Russia by maintaining a neutral stance. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Surbhi. Over to Ida, ma'am.
Thank you, Amol. Good evening, Surbhi. How are you?
Good evening, ma'am. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. How a mathematician can contribute to civil services?
Ma'am, as a mathematician, so mathematicians have a very logical and an outcome-based approach to handling any problem. In civil services, both at the stage of policy implementation and policy drafting, it is very important to have tangible outcomes in mind, and also to continue to change policies based on the feedback we receive from these policies on ground. This is the first application. There are also certain specific applications. For example, randomized control trials, which work on the principles of probability, can be used to assess the impact of policies on ground and draft better policies. Yes.
Okay. Tell us something about Phagwara. You come from Phagwara?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell us something about Phagwara.
Ma'am, Phagwara is a statutory town in the Kapurthala district of Punjab. It is famous for two mills. One is the JCT mill, which is an old textile manufacturing facility, and another is a sugar mill, which generates sugar from sugarcane. Yes, ma'am.
Surbhi, what are the provisions in our budget, present budget, relating to agriculture? Okay, my next question. How can drone benefit in agriculture?
Ma'am, drones are being used to digitize land records. Number one, we have the Swamitva scheme, which is doing this. Secondly, drones can be used to efficiently spray fertilizers and pesticides on the crops. Thirdly, drones can be used to monitor the conditions of plants as well as the soil, and take timely interventions in case there are any vagaries associated with monsoon.
Would you recommend use of drones in border areas?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Due to the changing and complex nature of threats we are facing in the border areas, we need 24/7 manning of the borders now. Drones can be used for this purpose. Also, we have many difficult terrains, for instance, the border in the Ladakh district of. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Surbhi, in your DEF, you have mentioned about Arch Smokeless Chula initiative. What was your area of activity? And what were the problems that you encountered, while propagating this drive?
Yes, ma'am. This smokeless initiative was aimed at helping rural women to shift away from their traditional chulhas, which cause indoor air pollution to them and their children. This was made of the traditional mud, and traditional mold was provided to these rural women to manufacture the chulhas and sell them within their villages. So, ma'am, the first was the resistance on the part of women to adapt anything new. They have a very high notion. They have this strong notion that their traditional chula preserves the taste of their food, and they were not willing to switch to anything new. Secondly, ma'am, training these rural women to become entrepreneurs was another challenge because of the patriarchal setup that they were surrounded with. And thirdly, ma'am, expanding the scale of this project beyond Delhi as students was another major concern for us.
Are you still connected with this drive?
No, ma'am, I'm not connected anymore.
So now you have no idea as to what happened to that Smokeless Chula drive.
Ma'am, this project is not functioning anymore because now we have better alternatives to this smokeless chulha that we were using. So presently under Enactus, teams are researching on these better alternatives to expand them to rural areas further.
You have worked for long with Enactus.
Yes.
So what suggestions would you give to strengthen Enactus? And secondly, how Enactus is connected with United Nations Sustainable Development Goals?
Okay. Ma'am, to improve upon Enactus, my first suggestion should be that Enactus, the institutional setup under Enactus is such that colleges from various parts of the country compete with each other in terms of the impacts of their project at a national competition organized by NACTIS every year. And the college that wins is further part of a global championship wherein a winner college from every country is allowed to compete with each other. In my view, there should be a collaborative approach to along with this competitive approach, wherein a number of colleges can come together and work on projects. This will enable greater scale to the projects that every small college is working on under Enactus. And ma'am, UN Global Sustainable Development Goals have a very strong linkage with Enactus by making rural people entrepreneurs themselves. Number one, it provides gainful employment opportunities to them. So it solves the problem of both poverty and hunger, which are Sustainable Development Goals 1 and 2. Secondly, ma'am, most of these projects are socially relevant projects. For instance, ANCH was aimed at solving the problem of indoor air pollution. There are other projects which are working on nutrition, education, health indicators. So combined, all of these projects are greatly contributing to UN SDGs.
Okay, my last question to you. Name of 2 development economists.
Ma'am, Amartya Sen and John Reze are 2 economists from India. Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo, who won the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2019, are other development economists.
Okay. Thank you, Surbhi. Best wishes. Over to Ekta now.
Thank you, ma'am. Hi, Surbhi. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. Thank you.
Surbhi, you have such a strong background with your chemical engineering, your interest in agricultural technology, entrepreneurship. Why do you want to choose UPSC? Why do you want to become a civil servant when you can do so much more for farming, for various other, arenas, for various other sectors, like you mentioned your activities in NSS and other with other organizations as well. Why do you want to go for UPSC?
Ma'am, first of all, I believe that as a civil servant, I will be able to work in all of these areas in a much stronger capacity and at a much larger scale, because the government works at a very large scale. In fact, a scale larger than any company in the world. So as a civil servant, I believe I will be able to be connected with and utilize my knowledge that I've gained in all of these domains very efficiently if I have the will to do so. Ma'am, so civil services, in my opinion, was a very promising career option, both personally as well as in terms of my professional aspirations.
Okay, very well. Now, can you please mention in recent renewable technology, how can your knowledge of chemical engineering be applicable and significant?
Ma'am, biofuels and ethanol blending are 2 emerging areas in the field of renewable energy technology. As a chemical engineer, devising mechanisms to convert waste to manure through use of efficient chemicals or biofertilizers or microorganisms in inoculum is one domain. Secondly, manufacturing ethanol through other diversified means is another application. Thirdly, ma'am, storage technology, since most of our renewable energy sources like solar and wind are not promising in the amount of time that they can promise. So storage technologies are a necessity to capitalizing any renewable energy. Battery storage technologies are another strong application of chemical engineering.
Very well. There's another thing in this field called green hydrogen.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please tell me a little bit about this and how is it different from other forms of hydrogen like blue and others?
Ma'am, green hydrogen is produced through eco-friendly means. It is produced via the electrolysis of water, and the energy that we need for this electrolysis is generated through renewable means. So it is a very eco-friendly mechanism of generating hydrogen. Gray hydrogen, on the other hand, uses coal as the source to generate hydrogen. And blue hydrogen if I'm not, if I can take a guess, it uses hydroelectric energy to generate hydrogen from electrolysis.
You can read a little bit about this,
Okay.
but yeah, overall your answer is. Now, also there's, as you were mentioning about this Ukraine crisis, what is the implication of this Ukraine crisis on the crude oil market?
Ma'am, Russia is a major supplier of natural gas as well as oil to many countries of the world. Europe is dependent on Russia for about 40% of its natural gas supplies. Similarly, many African countries. So the current crisis as well as the sanctions imposed by USA have impacted the supply of crude oil from Russia.
Okay, very well. Just one last question. Can you elaborate on India's role? I mean, India, its vision is to become a superpower eventually, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How can or what is the role played by Indian Ocean in reaching this goal for India?
Ma'am, the Asian region as a whole has become a center of global economic as well as political activities. And the Indian Ocean is the region through which this entire Asian region is connected. From maritime, from supply of marine goods to security of the regions, bounding the Indian Ocean region. It is very important to have a peaceful as well as freely navigable Indian Ocean region. And this is where India can play its role in stepping up and acting as a net security provider in the region.
Okay, can you please explain what are sea lanes of communication?
Ma'am, sea lanes of communication are, ma'am, number one, we have fiber optic cables passing through the sea, which provide internet connectivity through the sea. Secondly, ma'am, we have ships navigating through the sea that enable trade ties as well as other necessities.
Okay, very well. All the best. Thank you. Over
Thank
to
you.
you, Nitesh, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, Surbhi. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you.
So I was going through your DAF, and you belong from Punjab, right?
Yes, sir.
From paternal and maternal side, from both the
Yes.
sides, you belong from Punjab.
Yes.
But when I was going through your career preference, you have given no choice to Punjab. Is there any particular reason about it, or you went through all the internal discussions, insider vacancy, outsider vacancy, all these discussions you have gone through? I am very curious to know about it.
Sir, I had no specific reason for opting out of Punjab, but the current cadre policy is such that I can either choose Punjab as my first preference, or I will have to completely opt out of it. So there were a number of considerations. One was that I wanted to stay closer to my family for sure, but I also wanted to work in a larger state which offers a diversity of experiences and a personal learning curve. For these reasons, I wanted Rajasthan to be my first preference, and because I could not give Punjab any other preference than one, I had to choose out of it.
Okay. So as you have chosen Rajasthan, so is there any particular reason for choosing Rajasthan?
So based on the limited knowledge that I have, Rajasthan seemed like a good state to work in. So there are many opportunities in Rajasthan. Number one, in the form of work in the domain of maternal and child health care. So secondly, Rajasthan has a very strong culture of transparency. The RTI movement, as well as many other grievance redress movements, originated in Rajasthan. So all of these factors combined shape my choice.
So if Niti Aayog has a parameter, as per the discussion, Rajasthan must have been the rank 1 state as per the development, as per the state GDP, as per the other human development indices. But that is not the truth.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
So do we think that there is something, or there is a lacuna in the implementation of the policies and the ideas that emerge from Rajasthan? Do you think there is a policy lacuna or implementation lacuna?
So in my belief, there are many lacuna for sure, because there is always scope for reform in any sector. So Rajasthan is a state which is situated in a dry region of the country. So they have issues around the development of agriculture or other manufacturing or service sector facilities due to the climate, which is a little unfavorable. Also, sir, Rajasthan has very strong patriarchal notions still prevailing there. We have the issue of khap panchayats, and as well as a stronghold of these institutions in the state. So these could be some areas of reform for Rajasthan.
Right. So being a chemical engineer, can you name one of the recent chemical factories that have been inaugurated in Rajasthan?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of this development.
Okay. So as you mentioned that the Rajasthan is a patriarchal society, one of the problem we see in Rajasthan is child marriage.
Yes, sir.
So what do you think is the main reason behind the child marriage?
So there are a number of reasons. The first is that parents do not parents do not want to spend on the education of the girl child, and they see marriage as an option to girl child is seen as a burden in many rural families even today. Because of this, they see spending on education as well as marriage as a double burden, and therefore early marriages of girls are a safeguard against this. Secondly, sir, there is also a lot of stigma around girl children being exposed to the unruly elements of society, and because of their fears around the dignity of their family and the girl child, they see early marriages of girls as an option to safeguard their dignity.
Right. So that means, as per the explanation that you have provided, that's a good thing.
I'm sorry, sir, can you please repeat?
As per the explanation that we see from the choice of from the perspective of the rural India, that is a good thing that they are giving their problem to a different family. But we see that there are various problems associated with child marriage, right? So what are the main problems? It's only not the marrying a girl at an early age. There are various other problems associated with it. Can you name the other problems?
Sir, one is also the concept of commoditization, wherein the girl child is given away to another family at in exchange for money.
Right. But don't we think that it is with the girls who are married at the age of 25 also? So dowry is a problem for every society, right? The problem is mainly teenage pregnancy that the society has to deal with when it comes to child marriage. Now, another thing that I noticed in your DAF, that you are a ghazal lover.
Yes.
Right. So which was the last ghazal that you heard? The most recent one?
Sir, most recently I heard this ghazal named Hazaro Khwahishein Aisi,
And it was
written by
by?
me. Mirza Ghalib has written this, and Jagjit Singh has sung this ghazal.
Okay. So do you think ghazal as a tradition, it has been a link between India and Pakistan?
Yes, sir.
Except ghazal, what all other links you find that can be used for extending the relations between India and Pakistan at a better level?
Sir, ghazals have been a link. For example, many Pakistani ghazal singers visit India and hold concerts here and are attended by Indians in large numbers. We also have a show by the name of Coke Studio, which is very popular among both Indian and Pakistani youth as well as adults. So Sir, Ghazal is definitely a strong suit of cultural diplomacy. Other than this, sir, we have common and shared history of colonial struggle and coming out, shared independence struggle in coming out of the colonial rule. We have shared geopolitical concerns in the region. As neighbors, South Asian region, the progress as well as greater integration of South Asian region is in the interests of both these countries. Sir, Pakistan's economic crisis at present may also help Pakistan realize the importance of economic growth, and in that sense, India and Pakistan can develop more and stronger trade ties, sir. Fourthly, we also have a strong Punjab linkage. The Punjab province of Pakistan as well as Punjab state of India have strong linkages. For example, the Kartarpur Sahib corridor that was recently inaugurated is one manifestation of this.
I'll ask only two last questions from you. First
Yes.
is that what shall we trade with Pakistan? What should be the trade basket between India and Pakistan?
Sir, number one is horticultural produce as well as food items. So second is can be crude oil. India is an exporter of finished petroleum products which can be exported to Pakistan. So thirdly is renewable energy. India is very strongly developing its domain in so solar wafers and silicon wafers, and these can be exported to Pakistan.
Okay, very good, wonderful answer. My last question is, what is healthy baking?
So technically, it would be correct to call it healthier baking because we substitute certain unhealthy ingredients with healthier options, like sugar, which is a very necessary ingredient in cakes and cookies, can be substituted with natural sugars like dates or bananas. Similarly, if we are baking a pizza, we can substitute the maida base with millets as an option or oats base as an option.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Over to you, Nitin sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ravi, my last question. Through the preferences for the services that you have opted for, I can see that you want to serve primarily in India first.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if as an IAS you are having deputation in another country, and cumulatively it is more than 10 years in a staggered manner, will you be happy then?
Yes, sir. I would have no problem in serving in any other country if I have to as part of my deputation. My major inclination is towards the administrative services because of the nature of its work, an interface with people as well as centricity around social issues, health, education.
But the foreign service, after the revenue service that you have opted, so this is what is the main take from the preferences of yours, that you want to live in India more.
Yes, sir. I would prefer to live in India, but if as a part of my job, I do have to travel to another country for even 10 or more years, I would be happy to.
It is a social, family-oriented decision, collective decision, or it is your individual choice?
No, sir. It is completely an individual choice, sir. Family had no pressure in this.
Okay. So your formal interview is over. So Ravi, you can leave this meeting for a minute. We can have your assessment in general. Then you can join using the same link after 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So, Ravi,
Yes, sir.
welcome again. What do you
Thank
feel about your performance today?
Sir, I think the first part of the performance was a little bad because I was weak in the technical areas, but later on it improved.
Okay. So overall, where do you put yourself? Above average, good, very good, excellent?
So good, I believe.
Good. So when is your real interview?
So 11th May.
11th May. So just after, I think, 4 or 5 days.
Yes,
It
sir.
is in the first shift or second shift?
It's a forenoon session.
Afternoon. Okay.
Forenoon, sir. Forenoon.
Forenoon, sorry. Okay.
Yes.
So that's a good part. Anyway, now today's performance, if we talk about, you are a very bright candidate. Your knowledge part is really good. You are cool, calm, and your temperament, basically what I observed, is also good. But sometimes having calculated performance, a collinear performance, same line performance, same, you can say, not curve, but same performance on one line, one plane. So your tone, honor, it has to be modulated as per kind of the question has been asked, the response you are making. Sometimes little moderate smiling gesture is also good. And when you don't know, you need to say, sorry, sir, I need to work upon, I need to see, or I don't know, because you were going blank.
Yes, sir.
And then we had to ask, okay, we ask another question. Okay, so that is one thing. And then when you are talking about the people whom you admire, like with Mr. G or Sahab, like Mirza Ghalib sir. So, sir, you can use, G you
Yes.
can use, Sahab you can use. And if any premier is also talked about, say, for example, our neighboring countries, PM and all. So, Prime Minister of another country, irrespective of the relationship with our own country. But yes, it shows that a candidate knows to respect the institutional mechanisms, institutional arrangements. Okay. And apart from that, your articulation, I will say, is also good. Pauses are there in some of the answers that you give, and when you are having same calculated answer frame, then we may perceive the submissiveness sometimes.
Okay.
So what I feel, that little assertion as an administrator is also needed without disturbing your coolness, calmness. Your temperament is good, so which is good part of yours. But 3-4 days are there. Lastly, I will say that maintain your health, which is the foremost thing. And
Yes.
on 10th night or the 11th night, you need to have good sleep.
Yes, sir.
And in 3-4 days time, gather more physical hormonal energy by getting into half an hour or 45 minutes jogging, playing badminton, or any lighter exercise that you are doing. Right?
Yes, sir.
Not reading many books, but last minute information from the newspaper side will go a long way.
Thank you.
Right? And if you need to just ask any question from any of the honorable panelists here, you may ask.
Mhm. Thank you, sir.
All question done?
Yes, sir.
And from your mathematics, there were, many
Yes, sir.
questions, and yet there may be some more questions. But no worries. If you don't know, you may say, sir, I need to work upon. I'll look at it, and I don't know, with a moderate smile.
Yes,
And
sir.
if you feel so that that DEF entries are to be discussed, one-to-one DEF, you can visit our institute. The coordinator will coordinate with you. You are living nearby area or away?
Yes, sir. I'm living in Karol Bagh.
Karol Bagh. So that is fine. This place is also located in the same place. So till then, all the really very best.
Thank you,
What's
sir.
more to say? Do well.
Thank you, sir.
Right?